Patreon Q&A number 93. I want to thank all 128 of my amazing patrons. Guys, I love you so much. Thank you for your continued support. And to everyone else listening, there's going to be spoilers for all of the series that I'm going to be talking about, so tread carefully. Mr.Awsome asks, hey, Shona, just caught up on My Hero. Dude, everything at the end of Season 4 up to Chapter 275 absolutely shows up the rest of the series. Why didn't I get into the manga sooner? I know, right? Now's the perfect time because this arc is the best it's ever been. I'm going to read your second question first. So how would you rank all of the beings in My Hero that you believe to be at or above dragon level, including All Might, All for One, in their prime and nerf states? So here it is, and maybe I'm missing some people. This is kind of just off the top of my head, but this is more or less where I see it. I mean, of course, I haven't gone in detail, so, you know, maybe there could be some people switched around here, and I'm sure there's already going to be a whole bunch of people that are angry that I'm even labeling a single My Hero character disaster level dragon, and that's fine, understandable. But this is how I see it. Prime All Might, easily the strongest character there ever was. Not ever will be, of course, but for now, he's definitely above dragon in my opinion. Could even be God. Controversial, yeah, we've already been there. Prime All for One, close to the level of Prime All Might, of course. When we get to see that energy manipulation quirk he had, the power of that was like rivaling what released Boros was doing with his energy. Just compare the two feats yourself. Then we got plus Ultra Shiggy, you know, the current Shigaraki going on right now. I mean, come on, he's definitely a dragon. Easily. Then we have nerfed All Might, nerfed All for One, and then Captain Celebrity. This guy, dude, anyone who can lift a cruise ship is dragon, and then that's just kind of like an ancillary thing to him. He has so many other abilities that are insane. 100% full Kali Izuku with Eri, you know, of course, the whole sequence at the end of the overhaul arc. If you're going to tell me that's not a dragon, then I don't know what to tell you. And then we got my boy USJ Nomu. Love this guy. Easy dragon, super fast, super powerful, shock absorption, regeneration. And then Gigantomachia, I only have him down here so low is because we don't have enough feats on him yet to really, in my opinion, like classify him definitively above all of these other characters, but he is a dragon nonetheless. And I'm sure pretty soon we'll see his best feats and, you know, see the true extent of his power, which I'm sure rivals that of like nerfed All Might. And then 9 is insane from the My Hero movie. If you haven't seen it, it's coming out next month. I won't spoil all of his quirks, but just his base quirk is weather manipulation. So yeah. And then Endeavor, I think he's a dragon. You know, that's fair to say, especially his performance in the latest arc. I mean, this is the best he's ever looked, and I think it really proves that he is definitely dragon level, in my opinion. Just his quirk alone is significant and worthy enough of a dragon. So for your second question, what if Metalbat, Tank Top Master, and Purry attacked the Liberation Army instead of the League? It's not really looking good for them, in my opinion, because while they are obviously strong, they're going against an entire city worth of people. What was the figure they were throwing around? It was like 50,000 people or 100. I think it was like 100,000, right? Was that the population of Deka City? And then on top of the Liberation Army lieutenants, who are all pretty powerful. I mean, Redestro, even without his gear, just 100% stress, is probably rivaling Tank Top Master and Purry. I guess it ultimately comes down to how far Metalbat can go, I guess. But, man, it's hard to see them winning against 100,000 people with all quirks and stuff, you know? Ayden B asks, hey, Shona, these Q&A videos every week really get me hyped for Sundays. I already like them, but anyway, but seeing my question getting answered on top of them is awesome by itself. Hey, thanks. I'm glad I could provide that entertainment for you, that little escape for you, Ayden. I appreciate the support. By the way, you made me laugh really hard when you said Drive Night. Yeah, get him the blood of the innocent. I mean, come on. He's probably the evilest dude, or one of the evilest dudes in the series. But Flashy versus Beefcake, I think Flashy would probably win, right? I mean, like, take a look at, like, what he did against 100 Eyes Octopus. Like, he was pretty big. Similar in size to manga Beefcake. Remember, difference between the anime and the manga with this dude. Big difference. I'm thinking that Flashy could traverse Beefcake similar to how he traversed 100 Eyes Octopus, and then after that, maybe take his head off, possibly, or something, or nick the vein in his neck, his artery, carotid artery, possibly. I mean, I guess he has good durability, but can it stop a Flashy slash point blank? Like, he's so fast, there's no way Beefcake could stop him. So Beowolf, do not worry, I have read your entire question, and I'll say that if these individuals were to get together, they would not be crowning who the number 1 A-class hero would be, or who even would be like a fringe S-class hero. Not even close to that. It's between the disciples for sure, and it would be E-Iron, who would, I think, clearly be the number 1 A-class hero with a MemePriest being gone. But even then, he still is not near S-class. I mean, not on the S-class level. I mean, maybe he's close to it, but he's not on it right now. But as for the matchup you have, 5, 6, 7, basically the 3 dudes that we see get schooled by Garo at the hero meeting, you know, Tank, Loincloth, Blue Flame, and then Magic Man, plus Feather, and one-shotter versus Death Gatling's crew. I still think Death Gatling's crew wins here. Because, like I said, we saw Garo completely destroy 5, 6, and 7 super easily. He wasn't even like pumped up, warmed up like he was against Death Gatling's crew. Like, I'm thinking Glasses could probably take Magic Man by himself. But then, you know, one-shotter, Feather, very formidable. But I still don't think it's enough, and I'm thinking that Death Gatling's crew definitely gets the job done here. I mean, it's not like a squash match, but I think they would definitely win. Buddy asks, "Hey, Swagmaster Z, hope things are going well." Hey, they are, buddy. I hope they are for you too. How do you think the story would change if our favorite Cape Baldy Saitama was a part of the strike team directly? So the only thing that would really change, I mean, just the way that I see it right now, is people finding out about Saitama's strength, because he's essentially already part of the strike team, you know, because he was actually down there before they were. So, I mean, it will ultimately depend on who he was with and who saw him take out who. Because I think this is all eventually going to lead to the same thing. Like, Saitama is going to punch somebody hard enough to get the attention of Orochi or Rover or somebody. And then I guess he's inevitably going to fight Orochi regardless. And then everything could probably play out the same way, right? I mean, it's not like Saitama is going to run to the finish line. Because he would have already probably did that already if he wanted to. Chase C asks, "Hey there, excited for another video as always, and I want to say that what you're doing is important, valued by, and looked forward to by thousands in the community." Hey, thank you so much, Chase. That really means a lot. I appreciate that. My question this week is, instead of Datara being sent to defeat and retrieve Gaara, it was Endeavor. How would a fight between these two go? With no automatic Genjutsu in. All right. I think a good way to figure this out, just, you know, if you want to do like quick, I want to say math, but that's not the right word. Take a look at Datara versus Sasuke, and then take a look at Endeavor's recent fight with Plus Ultra Shigaraki in the manga. I'm thinking that if you replace like Sasuke with that Endeavor, I'm thinking that Endeavor could probably win, right? I mean, Datara, it would be competitive somewhat. I mean, Datara's no chump, but man, Endeavor's quirk is so good. His speed, physicality, everything is so good. It would be like if somebody could just spam the best fire jutsus ever and like had like super physicality as well. I mean, it would just really be difficult for Datara to take this one. Dino W asks, "This is actually a two-parter. Who would win a battle royale between C, B, and A class from the Hero Association minus Saitama and a MemePriest against every single Nomu that we've seen so far, all the way up to the manga, with USJ Nomu, Kurogiri, the White Nomu's Hood-chan, and all of the high ends. It's not looking good for the A, B, C class heroes here. I mean, there's always a chance that like maybe they can come out, but this is like an army of weaklings essentially. I mean, in the eyes of these characters, going against like a group of S class heroes. Like, think about it. Like, how would like 13 or 10 S class heroes fare against all of the C, B, and A class heroes in the Hero Association? They'd probably win. I mean, there is a couple hundred of them, right? There's got to be like 200 or 300 maybe or something like that. But yeah, I mean, these Hayanomus are all essentially S class heroes, with some of them even have better abilities. So man, it's just like the USJ Nomu. Oh my God, if he like ran into like a group of like C and B class heroes, it would be a rampage. It would be like an elephant running through like mice or something. So my second question, how would this battle change if Monster Amai and Gigantomachia came into the fight? So things would definitely change in favor, because a Monster Amai is insane and he could probably defeat the USJ Nomu maybe, but it would be competitive. But then Gigantomachia, I think, evens that out, because he's just as powerful, if not even more powerful than the USJ Nomu. And then he's got the other Nomus with him still. I'm still thinking that they'd win. with this new added things you have here. Flashy Flash asks, shown in every video, Peak Red Garo is the strongest dragon. Shown in the Flashy Flash versus Peak Red Garo video, Flashy Flash wins. Explain. So, one has crafted a very great series, and it's just good writing. It makes everything clear, and we can see where everyone is, at least in my opinion, which makes a very good and balanced power scale, which escapes a lot of series. So in the instance of One Punch Man, we can say that this character is the strongest in this tier of characters, but it doesn't mean that he's going to defeat everyone. It just means that overall he is the strongest. So yes, it did say Flashy Flash would probably decapitate Garo if they were to fight, but I still classify Garo as the strongest dragon because he would defeat way more people than Flashy Flash, or not way more, but just more people than Flashy Flash would. It like, look at like professional sports. Everyone, like, sometimes when somebody is on top of their respective division or whatever, and they're regarded as number one or the strongest or the best, it doesn't mean that they would defeat every other person in the top 10 or whatever, you know, given the situation. Like, take a look at MMA, for example. Like, Anderson Silva, when he was in his prime, he was regarded as the number one pound-for-pound fighter in the world, which essentially means that he's the strongest fighter in the world. But it didn't mean that he was unbeatable. It's like the other ones. Like, there were other people that analysts and fans considered, you know, capable of defeating him, but that didn't mean that they were the best. Anderson was still the best because he would probably defeat everyone more so than the people that could defeat him. So, like, if you have, like, a good wrestler going against Anderson, they'll probably win. But that same wrestler would probably get destroyed by somebody else that Anderson would destroy. Does that make sense? Free-Tshirts asks, hey, Shonen, now the Middle Bat has the Neo Hero suit. What would his disaster level on his base form be? It's way too soon, and I was curious about that myself, too. That's what I thought immediately. Is like, I wonder how strong he is now at his base. And I'm assuming that it's at least got to maybe pump him up to, like one pumped-up notch of fighting spirit or something like that. I mean, he said it himself that he's stronger or whatever, so I don't think it's too significant, but I don't know. We'll see where it goes. Maybe it pumps him up to where he was after he got his clothes ripped by Senior Centipede, possibly. That would be a little insane, but I don't know. We'll see. Geruda asks, hey, Shonen, do you think Vegeta can hijack a Spirit Bomb from Goku or completely gate it using his new technique? Thanks. So in theory, definitely, he could. I mean, if you look at what he did, I mean, in theory, he should be able to do it. But then again, I don't know, maybe a Dragon Ball hardcore would come up and say that, like, well, the Spirit Bomb is made out of quote-unquote Genki. And, I don't know, the energy that Vegeta is manipulating with this technique is not Genki. Now, I don't know if that is the case or not. As far as I can see, it appears that the energy that Moro is taking is essentially the same energy that Goku cultivates for the Spirit Bomb. At least, could be wrong, but it definitely appears to be that way, so I don't see why Vegeta wouldn't be able to completely dismantle Goku using a Spirit Bomb. Goliath Xanatos asks, hey bro, hope you've been keeping yourself well. The heat is is peaking at 95 in the UK. Wow. That's, yeah, I mean, we have that temperature here typically on the East Coast, but if that's unusual for UK, that's really too bad, but I hope you're, I hope you're all right, man, and you're able to battle through it. How competitive do you think Red Garo versus Kuketsu would be? So I've actually made an entire video dedicated to this because you say at the end you don't know if you've answered this, but not only just answered it, but yeah, whole video. Check it out. It's in the Versus Battle playlist. I don't want to spoil it for you. I think you'll enjoy it. If Metal Knight at any point decided he wanted to take over the world by using his vast army of drones, mechs, and other constructs to fight for him, could he do it? Yes and no. I think he has the manpower, quote-unquote manpower. I think he has the power to do it, based on everything that we've seen. I mean, why not? I don't think he's going to because he's not evil in my opinion, but if he really wanted to, think about it. He made the entire Hero Association in a week, and it was scheduled or it was projected to be like a 10-year project. That's insane. Imagine if he focused that construction power and just overall, effectiveness into wanting to take over the world. Don't you think he'd be able to do it? He's got to have at least over 100,000 robots in various degrees of powers. I mean, look at the ones that were just taking Boros' ship. I mean, it's very likely he could, but then of course, it comes into, can he stop Blast? Can he stop Tatsumaki? It's maybe, maybe not. I mean, I gotta you got to think that like if Drive Knight fears Blast, then Metal Knight definitely fears him as well. Metal Knight has his finger on the pulse of everything going on in the world of One Punch Man. It seems like I really wouldn't be surprised if Metal Knight knew that God existed. Joseph E asks, yo, what's up, Sean? When are you going to go live again? I'm going to be making a Twitch channel in the future, maybe next month or something. I'm going to get around to it, and that's when I'm going to be going live again. So I'm going to be leaving YouTube temporarily. I'm going to see how Twitch works out, and then if it's stable, I'll just be there from now on, going live, a couple times a week. How do you think the current arc in My Hero would change if a MemePriest was in the battle? I mean, he would definitely help them in the short term, for sure, but I still don't think Amai is enough to stop Plus Ultra Shigaraki. He's just kind of unfair at this point. Even Monster Amai, like, what's he going to do against Decay? It's gotten to that point of where it's like speed is going to have to take him out, and I don't think Amai, even in his monster form, is fast or lethal enough to stop Shigaraki Plus Ultra at this point. Second question is, how do you think a fight between Twice and Black S would go down? Twice does rival Black S in on paper brokenness, but in actuality and like how it plays out, Black S is just so much stronger than Twice. It would be a complete squash match. Like, there's nothing Twice can do to defeat Black S, I think. Killer Fan asks, yo, Shonen, so I'm curious, how would there be any way for anyone in the One Punch Man universe to defeat Saitama? What do you think it would be possible for Saitama's weakness to be? Love your content, G, and I'm definitely moving up to the 20 tier at the end of this month. Hey, thank you, Killer. I appreciate that, bruh. So, Saitama doesn't really have a conventional weakness. He's just too powerful. I mean, that's the whole narrative here. But he can be defeated, and it's very possible we might see him be defeated before the end of the series. Now, like I said, non-conventionally, it's not going to be like him being beat in a fight. There's no way that's going to happen. I mean, like a physical contest. But I think in chapter 124 of the webcomic, Black S basically says that Saitama can be defeated by, outsmarting him, being more cunning than him. Because he's like, yeah, he's just too strong. There's just no point in trying to overcome him in a match of physical strength. It's just an unattainable level of power. But if you outsmart him, you can beat him that way. So a good example, I think, of this happening is at the end of the Watchmen movie. Spoilers for the 2009 Watchmen movie, one of my favorite movies ever. I'm going to be talking about it now. So Ozymandias outsmarts Dr. Manhattan, who is a god essentially among humans, by, tricking everyone into thinking that he committed this terrorist act and turning humanity against him. So that he basically beat Dr. Manhattan there, because like Dr. Manhattan's whole thing was like, I'm chilling on Earth because I'm just chilling with these humans. But now if all the humans hate me, then I have no incentive to be here anymore. And I'm not so unredeemable as to where I'm just going to wipe out humanity. So yeah, you win. Everybody hates me. So I'm leaving. And that could happen to Saitama too. Like, if somehow someone, Black S, I don't know, gets humanity to turn on Saitama, then he has no incentive to continue being Saitama. Because the whole thing was protecting humanity from monsters. But if everybody hates him, then he's not going to be a hero anymore, and he's just going to be a recluse, essentially being defeated. L asks, all is well, my guy. Do you think the organization has the same numbers as the Monster Association with the disaster levels, or just a small base with super strong members? Stay humble, Shonen, always take care. Hey, thank you, L. So, I always got the impression that they were like smaller, like a small group with strong members, because we never really see too much from them. We saw the Brain Robot, we saw the Great Fox Robot, in my opinion, we saw Drive Knight, and then G4, G5, and then what is implied to be G6, and there was a long span of time in between all of them. So, I mean, of course, in theory, they could have thousands and thousands of little robots, or maybe even thousands of demons, I don't know, but I think they're kind of just working towards concentrating their power into like quality over quantity, as where it seems with like Metal Knight, he has like the huge vast arsenal, but the organization, they're researching power and how to get stronger instead of like making a big army, I guess. I mean, that's also the purpose of the suits that they have on the Neo Heroes. Because instead of having to make all these individual robots, they just make the suits, put the suits on the humans, and now they can control them that way, or they will in the future. Legandaryus asks, hey Shonen, I have a theory that Saitama and Blue will fight similar to Tatsumaki, and Saitama did and defeat most of the monsters in all the recent encounters. That would help to make Saitama more likely to be known as the next face of the Hero Association. So Legandaryus, I think you are both right and wrong here. Just my opinion, of course. It's all theories in the end. But I do think that Blue and Saitama are going to have some kind of encounter that may lead to some collateral damage, possibly. Maybe the dragons will be involved. I mean, Saitama is going to be there for sure, and Blue is already there. So they will have some kind of beef encounter, possibly. And, because Blue doesn't like Saitama. He knows about him. So it could be something like that. But I don't think Saitama is going to be the next face of the Hero Association. It's possible he never is. And even if he is, I think it's way too soon for that to happen. MemePriest asks, Oi, Zosuke. I used 8-ball to ask you questions. Ain't that wacky? Hey, I like Zosuke. That's a good nickname. Appreciate that. Here's my questions. What if Genos met King instead of Saitama? How would the story play out? Interesting. It's possible that King might have inspired Genos to go and do his own training regimen in order to get stronger. I mean, of course, maybe Genos could always be like, be my sensei, let me live with you, but I'm pretty sure King would just deny him, and Genos would listen because, there's no, second talking to King. There's only, he talks to you and then you accept it. So I think, Genos would be no different. But he would definitely be inspired by him because he'd probably see King inadvertently do some crazy feat, and he'd be like, oh my god, this is what the greatest power in the world looks like. I must be like him. He'll probably dress like him or something, maybe style his hair like King, maybe etch a scar on his face, possibly. And what upgrade do I think Drive Knight is going to get in the webcomic? So I don't think he's going to get an upgrade. I think we're just going to see his potential because that we haven't seen anything from Drive Knight. He has done nothing in the webcomic except talk to Genos and tell him that Drive Knight or that Metal Knight is his enemy. So, no upgrades needed. Just show us what Drive Knight can do. Proasek asks, up, Shronen. How is? I've been building up questions. Do you think there's any determining factor for what shape a monster is? What caused the monster to appear almost entirely human? Or humanoid monster bug? Or blobs with limbs? So, I mean, it ultimately comes down to what one was feeling like, I guess, or Murata. A lot of the times, Murata just stream of consciousness, character designs into the series, regardless of their mythos or origin. But, going into the mythology of the series, it could be intelligence-based because, Psychos talks about how, the more intelligent you are, the more likely you are to break through the next level of power. And also, it could, holding in and containing the power, it has to do with intelligence as well. So, maybe that plays into it because, Neon is pretty intelligent and cunning and became, a human, anthropomorphic after just being a natural cat. But Overgrown Rover is still pretty much the mentality of a dog, but ultra powerful. So I don't know, maybe cats are smarter than dogs, or just individually Neon was born with a high level of intellect as a cat, and Rover was just a dumb dog. I don't know, but I don't know. Crablante, he was also real snivelly and greasy, and maybe that played into it too. Maybe it's personalities. And just inherent strength, too. If you're powerful, maybe you'll become like Oketsu. But if you're a little sniveling weakling, you'll turn into Benpatsu. Q asks, instead of inheriting One for All, a quirkless Deku is approached by God from One Punch Man who gives him the power he gave the Homeless Emperor. He'll have to train it at UA in order to take it and use it to the extent of Homeless Emperor. But even at a nerfed base level, how does this change some of Deku's more intense fights? Interesting. So he's going to become more like Todoroki now. He's a super physical, in-your-face striking type that he's been. Now it's just going to be sit-back, mage, stationary type. So yeah, I mean, I guess his fights would go more or less like how Todoroki's have. And the more intense fights, I mean, we go to Overhaul, immediately that comes to mind. If we paired him with Eri or whatever, or, I don't know, he was able to use the full power that God gave him, he would just be shooting Kamehamehas at Overhaul and defeating him that way. That would be pretty cool to see. But just take into account that instead of being mobile, he'll just be stationary, or just a similar mobility to Todoroki. How would you imagine a fight be going between Tokoyami, Hawks, and Dabi begrudgingly working together to take on Junior Centipede? So I think they're strong enough to take down Junior. He's just a tiger. We're going to bump this up to Demon here. Go to Senior Centipede because this is really going to push them to high diff. Because he's probably a low demon or something. But I still think that they have enough to get the job done here. I mean, Dabi with the Fire Assist, Tokoyami Ragnarok, and Hawks with his speed. I think they could do. Steven asks, Tere Homikust. Saitama can fly, right? In episode 6, after he chops Sonic, he lands very slowly and softly like a deaccelerator without even realizing it. Either he'll fly by the end of the series or he'll never notice, which is even funnier. Hang in there, dude. So I'll take both. If he can fly and he doesn't even realize it, that would be funny, and I could see one pulling that, but it ultimately comes down to just, once you get to a certain level of power, it doesn't really matter anymore. You can do whatever you want. Like, it's like saying, like, the Hulk can't fly. Like, okay, I guess he can't fly because he doesn't have wings, he doesn't have telepathy or telekinesis or some kind of tech that boosts him that way, but it doesn't really matter. I mean, he can really fly if he wants to. He can do anything he wants. He's just so super overpowered, physical strength that it doesn't really matter anymore. Skinny Giraffe asks, what's up, Z? Assuming you've seen the new 2 One Punch Man OVAs, which one do you personally like better? I haven't watched the 6th one yet. I'm saving it for the review that I'm going to be doing tomorrow. But I did see 5, and I was very disappointed in it, so I'm probably going to like 6 better. Second question is, since a lot of the tank toppers left the tank top crew, do you think they had to turn in their tank tops to show that they were leaving? Like when you turn in your uniform when you quit a job. Have a nice day, Sean, and you too, Skinny Giraffe. So I think that they tried. They definitely tried to hang it up, in the locker room or whatever. And then I can see Tank Top Master being like, no, you don't have to leave it. Take it, keep it with you, and always wear it. Even though you are no longer a part of the tank top army, it does not mean that the tank top you wear has lost its power. ThighsOfZeus asks, hey, Shonen, this week I have speculation questions. Do you think the purpose of the 5 dragons was to make the heroes active so that they can fight it? Yes, I absolutely do believe that. I have a long overdue theory about this that is eventually going to come out, at least hopefully before the new webcomic chapters do, but I think you're pretty spot on with everything you're saying here, even with the catalyst of the fight. So yeah, you're doing pretty good, ThighsOfZeus, with your speculations here. And hey, you're even going further with your second question, because I'm on board with this too. I also have another long overdue theory video for this too, but it not only includes Dr. Genus, it includes another character too, because yes, this is Dr. Genus's ultimate purpose for the series. Rather than just being an important expositional mouthpiece, I think he plays into the end game with God 100%. Spot on. Zapphod B asks, are there any heroes in the Hero Association that don't get too much screen time that you would like to see more of? I would like to see more of Bone. Personally, I think he's cool. Yeah, Bone is cool. It's too bad they come out of season 2. Glasses. That is my answer. I wish we saw more of Glasses. I am so unbelievably interested in this character, and I wish we just had more of them. I need answers. I need answers, and I don't need sleep because of that. Do you think Bone could survive or get back up after receiving a punch from non-hydrated Deep Sea King? I think if he got punched, he would get knocked out, and he'd be down for the count, but he'd live. I don't see him getting back up after it, though. Maybe if he chugged like a gallon of milk, possibly. So that's pretty much it for the video today, guys. Once again, I want to thank all 128 of my ultra-powerful patrons. Guys, I love you so much. Thank you for your continued support. And if you would like to be in next week's Q&A, just simply check out the $5 tier on the Patreon. That will give you access to this video. And if you haven't already, please subscribe as well. Have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one.